Oh, what's up, everyone? First Showdown breakdown of the 2024 season. We got the Tri-Goats together to break it all down. Ravens, Chiefs, 2024 kickoff. Are you guys ready for this? It's happening. Bobbywow, DFS up north. It's good to be back, man. How you guys feeling?
It's crazy. I can't believe we're already it's already football season. Let's do it.
How did it happen? Where did the offseason go? Let's just do a real quick update for everybody out there. A little bit of what we've done in the offseason to prep for this. So we've spent the offseason here at DFS Army doing a ton of back testing across all of our tools. We've launched a whole new suite of tools as well, and we have even more coming out in the next couple of weeks. But we certainly, if you are a DFS Army subscriber, make sure you are under NFL. You check out the basic training page if you missed it. Bobbywow and I did some Showdown back testing DFS up north. And we did learn some things. And I think I'll bring it up at the end of this, how we're setting up the optimizer now.
Yep.
Super appropriate. We're going to talk a lot about how to set up the optimizer stacks. You know, Bobbywow, one of the things we learned was play a defense anyway, even if it seems like you shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, that was my biggest wow moment. So yeah, let's recap that maybe at the end. But we learned some good stuff. Things.
Some surprising things, particularly about Showdown. So we're going to weave that in as we break this all down. And we're going to be together all season long, breaking down these Showdowns. Remember, we are in our final push to the beginning of the NFL season. So if you're watching this, you're not a DFS Army subscriber, of course, we would love you to be a part of our family, our team, hanging out with Bobbywow and DFS Up North and Burns, the Shark Lab and Madness and the whole fling and the whole DFS Army NFL team. Bob, Josiah for the ladies. He's out there too. Promo code NFL15 gets 15% off any subscription on the DFSarmy.com website now through kickoff Sunday, 1 o'clock. Don't miss it. I told him, there's Karma. After 1 o'clock, she's here she thought Bob was going to be here. He's not here. He's not here, but he'll be on with us on Friday night for Tournament Tactics.
Oh, man.
He will be on with us on Tournament Tactics on Friday. We got a big show on Friday here on the DFS Army YouTube channel as well. That is live as well Friday. Okay. Big game, guys. Chiefs, Ravens. First game of the season. We have some changes for both of these teams. Josh, you did the notes.
Yep.
But we have, some new players on these teams. A little bit of changes. So let's go. The matchups tool, worthless week 1. We don't know what the usage is going to be. We have some ideas. So let's go team by team, DFS Up North.
Yep.
And talk a little bit about what we have going on for the Ravens and then the Chiefs. So let's start with the Ravens. Take me through it.
Biggest change. I mean, it's a big change, right? So the Ravens, over the past, 5 or 6 years have had a slew of just sort of mediocre running backs, right? Like it's been Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins was pretty good for a season, injuries, things like that. They have got themselves a real workhorse here in Derrick Henry, which was maybe one of the more surprising moves of the offseason. But this, I think, is going to be I am intrigued to see the usage. It could be coach speak. Harbaugh has talked about Justice Hill a little bit and how they're going to kind of a 1-2 punch. But Derrick Henry is, classic beast mode and could, potentially have a pretty good day here. The rest of the team is everybody seems to be healthy. Mark Andrews dealing with a little bit of an injury from a car accident, but has been practicing. We got Zay Flowers. And then, there's not a ton. It's Lamar Jackson's show, right? It's the Lamar Jackson show.
I want to add in a couple things here. Derrick Henry, perfect fit for this team.
I think so too.
Could not have picked a more perfect fit guy than him. So I love that acquisition for the Ravens. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to be a beast. He's going to beast tomorrow. Or tomorrow on Thursday. We are on Tuesday here breaking this down. I've got another thing to add that I don't think Lamar and Derrick Henry are going to pair very well together in DFS. They are going to be a negative correlation. So I would just keep that in mind for this breakdown. the last thing I want are
Yeah.
both of those in the same lineup together.
I think in some games that's going to work. I don't necessarily see it here against the Chiefs.
Yeah. Backups. So, Rashad Bateman, WR2. Who's the WR3?
Devontae Walker, Tylan
Or
Wallace.
Nelson Aguilar?
Aguilar
Aguilar.
too.
The
He's
corpse
still
of
around.
Nelson Aguilar is still in there.
Could be Aguilar. Could be. Yeah. So those are all turd crew, right? Like, no one seems very good.
Bateman's got a lot of. I feel like people are hyping Bateman up quite a bit here, and like, I mean, obviously I like him. He's a former Golden Gopher. What up, Sky Uma? But he has never had double-digit fantasy points. Like,
can we not play Rashad Bateman? Like, seriously, guys.
I mean, you could. I mean, but that
he's way overpriced for his 4.7 average fantasy points per game.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention another thing. Don't forget that the Chiefs are supreme elite against WR1s. This slate does not set up well for Zay Flowers in the sense that the matchup is horrific.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. Could push looks to WR2 or 3, but also I think it actually pushes things to Derrick Henry and especially Mark Andrews. So that's kind of how. All right. Now let's talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs have quite a few changes on their roster compared to last year. Up north, take us through it.
Yeah, so I mean, big offseason acquisition was Hollywood Brown. Not there anymore.
Yeah.
Or not there this week anyways. Mr. Rice has avoided suspension to this point. I think it'll be for a while that he'll be able to play. So he's going to be your de facto wide receiver 1, though playing out of the slot, which I do actually think makes him a better DraftKings play than FanDuel. Just I think he can rack up a bunch of points. He was outstanding after the bye last year. They added some speed with Xavier Worthy, which is going to be huge for them. The rookie has got some wheels, man. And I think that also opens up stuff underneath for Rashee Rice. We got the Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield, which is same as last year, but CEH is dealing with some stuff. They signed Samaje Perine as sort of their third down back. I think, he could be intriguing. And then, they just, again, added another washed up wide receiver in Juju Smith-Schuster. So they're interesting there. On the defensive side, they are a little bit different. They will L'Jarius Sneed. I want to say Rudy Gay, but Willie Gay is not there anymore. So they got a couple of guys that are out, but they've mostly filled internally with backups and things like that who are used to Spagnuolo's system and the things that he does on third down that just make it really hard to play against.
I like it. So are we interested in all with Holly Weird Brown out this week? Are we interested at all in like Justin Watson as that WR3? Are we getting any bargains there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, even in a healthy offense last year, I mean, Watson was good for a long ball, right? I think he was in the nuts a couple of times in these games, if I remember right. So I mean,
it was really only once, by the way.
Was it once?
It was just we over remember.
You remember things, yeah. We see that in the back test where we're like, oh, this guy had a great, and you're like, oh wait, not so much. But yeah, I mean he's gonna play, right? He's gonna be in there. So I think the guy that maybe you really of these you don't want to play like a Mecole Hardman. I was shocked that he even made the roster.
It's the same situation, right? That we see the last couple of years. These guys are going to rotate in and out. Yeah. I think most people seem to assume that it's going to be Juju taking more of that WR3 role. I don't think so. I think I agree with Justin Watson. I think he'll probably be the guy that takes the most snaps of anyone at WR3, but it'll be a mix like it always is with the Chiefs.
Yeah, Watson was in the nuts in one of those back test reviews, but it was the one time that he did it. All right, there's one other player I want to mention here. We have to talk about the running backs. I absolutely love Pacheco this week and all season long. He's going to be great.
Yep.
They kind of got rid of Clyde Edwards-Helaire or put him on the pup. They added Samaje Perine within the last few weeks, but also there is a rookie that has been making interesting noise in the preseason here. It looks like Carson Steele, aka Kid Rock.
I mean, he's going to play that fullback role according to Reed. And I mean, I wouldn't not be shocked to see him get some run here.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, he could get for 200. I'm looking for the $200 guy that can.
Yeah, I think the other cheapie that we need to consider though is Noah Gray, right? Like Kelsey's the guy, but Noah Gray gets in there enough that he can. And how much is he? What,
1,600?
16. So cheap enough, right? That I think that he is a possible guy to get some action or get some exposure to.
Yeah, you get these low end guys. I mean, these secondary, thirdary wide receivers, it's going to be tough with Sky Moore, Hardman, Watson, and all those, and Juju to try to figure out like who's going to get the snaps. They do 4 wide a lot with the the Chiefs do 4 wide quite a bit as well. So yeah, any one of those turds can come through. So with that all being said, we've kind of taken a look overall at these two teams. Let's jump over to the actually, we could take a quick look at the Showdown analysis sheet. Again, I just want to point out, this is another really cool tool that we have at DFS Army. For every Showdown, we kind of go through these teams as if they've been in Showdowns and like how often which player falls as a captain and whatnot. But this is information from last year, so take it with a grain of salt. Like, Mark Andrews was injured most of last season. He didn't really feature much. The Chiefs really didn't have any good wide receivers last year. So up until later when Rashee Rice was discovered, but it looks like Baltimore captain possibilities. We've got Lamar Jackson around 21% of the time as the Nuts captain. Again, that was Lamar Jackson pre Derrick Henry. Will it be a different guy? We don't know. Wide receiver, only 11% of the time for Baltimore. Understandable, because they haven't had dominating wide receivers. Sometimes the running back, 16%, both KC and Baltimore, fine. Everyone once a defense, once a kicker for KC. Actually was a kicker. I think was a high scoring game where the kicker opened some stuff up. So with this being said, there's a whole breakdown here for DFS Army subscribers talking about who's won and historical captains and flex plays. We're not going to get too deep into that here. Subscribe at DFS Army. You can check that out as you're building your lineups. But let's jump over to DraftKings. And guys, reminder, if you're enjoying this breakdown, like, subscribe to the channel. You're going to need to be subscribed to be notified when we go live with these videos. And who doesn't want to be here live, hanging out with the crew, getting your questions answered? So let's get into the actual nitty gritty of this slate. And let's talk through some captain strategies. Again, DFSupNORTH, you focus this sheet for us. So take me through the captain spot. Obviously you've got, how I don't really love personally playing too many quarterbacks at captain, but here we have,
I think Lamar is different. Actually, I think both of these QBs are a little different.
They are
even though they haven't shown up a ton. Lamar's just got that multiple touchdown upside with his legs, right? And that their offensive line is not good. He is gonna have to get going this year. Karlaftis and Chris Jones are gonna be in his face. So I think we could see some added rushing upside here with Lamar this week. Even with Derrick Henry in the backfield. It's I think the loss of Snead does hurt that secondary to the point where I think that he's a viable passer here too, especially with like a Zay Flowers. I don't think he's going to put up 300 yards, but I think that he can, he can sling it a little bit potentially. And then Mahomes, here's the thing about Mahomes is I think that he's a viable captain just because of how often he spreads the ball out. Like, he throws the ball he might throw 4 touchdowns and it's almost always to multiple guys. It's once in a while we get the two Kelsey tutty game, but Mahomes can throw to Justin Watson and the fullback and, Sky Moore or whatever. So I do think that he is viable. I don't think if I was a betting man, which I guess I am, I would say that I think that it's probably somebody. Those guys are the most likely, but I think that if you're really trying to attack GPPs, I would probably narrow my field to guys like Pacheco, Kelsey, Andrews, one of those secondary options, and then making sure that I'm getting my exposure to Lamar and Mahomes in that flex spot.
Yeah, for DFS Army subscribers, of course, ownerships will fill in probably tomorrow, like ownership projections. So we'll get a little better sense of like what the field's going to do. But I, you know, these always are the same. You'll get like 12 to 15% on both quarterbacks in the captain spot. That's just always what it is. All right. So I'm just going to add these two little tidbits, and I want your thoughts as well, Bobby. Wow. But with Lamar, I'm good with stack with one. With Mahomes, I need him with two of his pass catchers. I would probably include Pacheco in that mix just because he could catch a pass, but I need Mahomes with two guys. He's not getting there with just one. If he throws 3 touchdowns to Kelsey, it's going to be Kelsey who will be the captain. So he really will need 2 guys to get it done. But yes, this is the rare exceptions. These are quarterback names that for me, I ain't playing Stafford at captain. I'm not playing Tua there, but I will play both of these guys. They're both acceptable. So let's get away from the quarterbacks. And
hold on, I got a question. I got a question for Bobby. Bobby, do you think, and I'm just in my head as we're talking here, if you have Mahomes captain, do you want Kelsey in your flex?
I feel like yes. To me, when Mahomes is truly going off, it's because Kelsey's doing his thing. Now, what it really depends on is salary restrictions. So I think as we build lineups, I'm curious to see how that works out salary-wise. But they don't look as expensive. But Patrick Mahomes doesn't look as expensive as he typically is. So I think it's fully dependent on that.
He's still pretty expensive though. But yeah, it's going to be hard to play them both together without really punting away. And there's some special values on this slate. I think there are some underpriced guys that I'm like a little more excited about in the captain spot. But let's talk about Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, 2 touchdown upside.
I think so. Do you? Absolutely. Okay, but here's the question, Kev. Here's the question. Do you smash the over on his number?
Yes.
64 yards.
Oh, yeah, all day. That is an over. I mean, I want to see our props come out like on the Proptimizer to verify that, but yes, he's not getting less than 65 yards. They're going to run the crap out of Derrick Henry. He fits this team like a glove. The only way this goes away from him, in my opinion, is if the Chiefs just jump out to this 21-0 lead early. Sure. I don't think. I want to discuss the other possibility, which is both teams come out a little rusty and no one looks that good early. And it's just this lower scoring game than people think.
I mean, I think that's the reality here, right? Like I think what's the line? 46? I thought it would be a little lower. I thought that
46 sounds low. I actually would have thought this would have been a 50 over 50 line. So, I'll take that. Pull up the Sharp app and check
it's 46, 3 point spread.
Yeah, that's low actually. So the sports books are accounting for that. If this was mid-season, Chiefs Ravens, you're talking about like a 53
60.
Yeah, it has this is game one. It has the rust
factor
worked into the price. So let's go through. Derrick Henry, spectacular though. I think he's a great captain. And if I'm playing him at captain, I'm just Xing out Lamar Jackson in the flex and saying they don't go together. Isaiah Pacheco, probably just as good.
Yeah, I think he's just as good of a play.
Yeah. Sean G is talking about Mark Andrews' price being comical. I agree. There are some just underpriced players here. I think Mark Andrews is comical, as is Xavier Worthy, and Rashee Rice is approaching ridiculous also. This is where I want to live at captain this week. Of course, the running backs as well, but I think any one of these three spectacular. What do you think, Bobby? Wow. 9,600 captain price for Mark Andrews, 6K.
That's great.
Like, what?
It's way too cheap. Yeah, to me, this is a double tight end week. I'll be smashing double tight end.
Yeah.
Just be rotating them at captain. I think those will probably be my 2 highest exposures on the slate. Both.
What about a 3 tight end week?
I can't get down with that. I'm not quite as excited about that.
I wrote. I think that the potential GP, like Isaiah Likely is gonna play. Like Isaiah Likely is gonna get in there, and he's cheap. Like, what if Lamar throws a tutty to both?
I feel like he's not that cheap. My only concern is, man, yeah. You know what? I don't think Likely is gonna stop anybody else. Like, I just don't think they're directly correlated. Like Mark Andrews and Likely could both show up. They could show up. There's no negative to me.
They play tons of
that's
two wide
intriguing.
receivers.
He is really cheap. He's really cheap. Okay.
Yeah, like that, or your Noah Gray play. I think Noah Gray is a little expensive at
Yes.
1,600. There's a lot of overpriced guys. I'm just seeing just weird pricing. So I'm telling you, Kelsey at 9,600, probably too little.
Sure.
Henry at 9K and Pacheco, these guys are probably underpriced too. But the biggest underpriced is, you're right, Mark Andrews 6,400. We should almost lock him into every lineup. Like, that is an absurd.
Yes.
Like, did they forget about Andrews?
I mean, he had the injury problems last season, and he never really found his groove last year, and then he had that car accident last month, and so that's a little bit of a setback. But look, here's the deal to me. In week 1, I don't care if you're Tom Brady or Zach Wilson, you are going to go to your comfort spot. You're going to your comfort zone. Lamar and Patrick Mahomes are going to find their comfort zone, and that is.
I thought you were going to say Giselle. I was like, where's this going?
No.
Right,
but that's Mark Andrews and that's Travis Kelce.
Okay.
So,
as far as are any of these guys a sneaky captain? I think maybe we don't know ownerships yet, so I don't really know. I would say Xavier Worthy might be sneaky, but my goodness, Xavier Worthy has all of the speed and upside of a, remember who was it? The Saint that went crazy for 2 bombs in one game.
Traquan Smith.
Yeah, he's got all the Traqueezy upside.
And
at
more.
captain, he was taking the top off of defenses during the preseason. He's just can track the ball. Xavier Worthy seems like he's going to be a perfect fit.
I'm sucked in. I'm sucked in.
He's bad news for the rest of the league. That's a big pickup for the Chiefs.
And underpriced. Like, what is this 8,700?
I can't believe he fell. I can't believe he fell in the draft to them. Like, I was so mad.
Did I get him?
No, I mean just in the draft of the actual NFL draft.
I think I have Rice in the DFS Army fantasy football league. At least one of them. I got a lot of Rice in exposure because people were scared of his. I don't care about criminals. I just take them. I take them on my team. I'm like, get in here. What'd you do? Car, you crashed up a Dewey. You got a Dewey. You're on my team. Let's go. Beat up your wife. You're on the team. Let's go.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry. Listen, I was just here to win, bro.
Shame on you, Geek.
Sorry, man. I have no morals when it comes to this. All right.
Okay, actually, if you're gonna say sneaky captain, and
is there a sneaky one?
I hate it, but I mean, both these defenses are pretty good, and it's week 1, and the total's lower than it should be, and we could potentially see a defensive captain.
Yeah, no, I mean that would be very far out, but it could happen. Binking is asking like a pivot off Pacheco. I think the only way, if you don't want to play Pacheco, is pass catchers on that team. So Ravens defense can be all the physical they want. You might stop the Chiefs in week 1 because of rust and whatever, but generally, the Chiefs are not a team that are just not going to score at all during a game. Maybe a kicker. Could this be all right? I'll paint the other. You want to talk about the other sneaky, weird captain scenario? Might be neither team can get in the end zone. They're both really rusty on offense, and they just kick a bunch of field goals.
Yeah.
Could be. I don't know that we get too crazy with captain on Thursday. I think we're probably stick this. The one other guy I'll mention, and you're gonna hate this too, is Rashad Bateman.
Oh no!
I know it's ugly. So to me, I'm okay not playing him in the flex and maybe getting a couple % of exposure at captain because he's a one play, 90-yard touchdown, big play guy. We've got a lot of focus on Zay. More focus on the rushing game. Now you got to contain Lamar and Derrick Henry. So that frees up Bateman, who also, you want to talk about take the top off the defense. Bateman's quick. So he's the one other guy I would consider as the turd captain this week.
No. Wait, didn't DFS Up North just tell us that Bateman never outscored 10 fantasy points all of last season?
I did say that.
It's true. Look, that's why he's a turd, but I think he's the only other one I would put in there.
All right. I wish there was a Chief player that was that. But really, I don't think
there's 5 of them.
Yeah, like Juju Smith.
They're every receiver.
Yeah. All right. So a couple of little, I guess, rules here would be, you know, do we want to, for example, avoid Pacheco with Mahomes in the flex? Is there any sort of kicker like that you think we should be looking as we're doing our lineup construction? What about like Zay Flowers if we're playing him, or Andrews? Should we really try to bump up Lamar in those lineups and maybe downgrade Derrick Henry a little bit?
I'm not as big of a fan of necessarily bumping up Lamar with his passing game. I to me, it's more of a limiting the amount of pass catchers on the Ravens. I think if you've got a guy like Mark Andrews in there, or especially Zay Flowers, I'm not allowing more than one other pass catcher in that lineup.
Yeah,
that's the way I'm approaching it.
Is it bad? All right, I have an idea. I'm going to put it out there in the ether, and then you tell me if this is like I'm nuts. I just want a full fade Zay Flowers. Like, just I'm not going to play him.
I'll be way underweight. But here's what we haven't talked about yet. We just saw this game at the end of last season, and Zay Flowers was a beast. He came to play. So I think we also need to consider, what we saw at the very end of last season in the same matchup. It was a low-scoring game, 17-10, but we still had guys like Zay Flowers and Travis Kelce popping off. So that's the one reason I can't stamp it as a full fade for me, but I will be significantly underweight.
He goes 11. Travis Kelce 11 for 11 in that game.
Remember that he caught like all those passes in a row.
And can I just, while we're on Kelce, another fun fact about Travis Kelce. In his last 4 opening week games, okay, so I think 2023 he didn't play the first game, so it includes his first game played, which was week 2. He has 24 catches, 273 receiving yards, and 5 touchdowns. Travis Kelce loves the playoffs, and he loves week 1. So to me, just another reason. He smashed in the same matchup last season. He's a comfort spot for Mahomes. He loves week 1. Travis Kelce is the stud.
Remember Sammy Watkins would always ball out in week 1 and everybody to get sucked in, and then he would just do nothing the rest of the
whole
season.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I think you're spot on. You've now convinced me not to full fade Zay Flowers, even though I wanted to, because he did absolutely smash this team in the playoffs. So we can't do that. How did and it was a low scoring game. I'm assuming Lamar and Mahomes didn't do anything in that game. Lamar an unimpressive, 20 points. But Lamar, if he just ran one into the end zone and it looks like Mahomes got a horrific only 15, but Mahomes had a very bad year last year.
The other thing to note too is that Pacheco, we look at the Ravens and we think, wow, what an incredible run defense. But the Chiefs pounded the ball down their throats in that game last season. Pacheco had 24 rush attempts. He scored a touchdown, I think, 70 yards. At 24 carries, you don't necessarily have to be efficient. So the volume there was key.
Especially week 1. I think they will pound it.
Defenses can be rusty too. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Pacheco, he is the workhorse.
And here's another little known part of Pacheco's game. It's not like this guy didn't catch passes that were thrown to him. His reception rate was insane last year. It was something like 90% of the passes that went his way, he caught. So yes, they had McKinnon and they bring him in. You know who they don't have now? McKinnon. It's going to be all Pacheco. I'm not super scared of P. Ryan, who's only been in the building for a couple days. I think there's going to be a lot of Pacheco in this game. So
Yep.
Yeah, and that's right. Yeah, the nuts lineup. It was no Mahomes and no Lamar. So we could definitely see it. Virginia, I don't know if you're trolling or not, but I'm not really sure if she's trolling.
I'll be playing him over P. Ryan.
Yeah,
I think
I like the idea of $200 steal. I will have him in some lineups for sure. I think it's almost sneaky that not a lot of people know about Steele, and people are talking up P. Ryan, and that makes me interested in Steele. Let's go. I guess we don't need to really.
Ryan is old, man, and he did nothing with that. He got Jaleel McLaughlin passed him up on the depth chart last season in Denver. Yep. So
I think he's a good fit. I think he's gonna block on third down.
Should be.
I don't see him having this huge role though.
Agreed.
Ryan was a really good blocker.
Yeah. He's big.
Yeah, he's really good at that. So in the turd zone here, do we have a favorite turd? We could. I'm talking about. All right, we have our defenses. I think some of these guys are a little weirdly overpriced. Did you notice that the kicker is $5K? What?
Yeah.
Are we doing this, DraftKings? We're really raising them up now. We're gonna get $5,000 kickers. Is that what we're doing now?
It's still pretty cheap, relatively speaking. It's still inexpensive for the value you get. I mean, Justin Tucker, $5K. You're looking for cash value. That's still a lock and load.
Yeah, it's still pretty reasonable.
Who's favored in this game? I think the Ravens are slightly favored.
Chiefs at home, right?
No, Chiefs are at home. They're 3-point favorites at home.
Oh, so the Chiefs are slightly favored here.
Yep.
Did that change? I felt like the Raider. Okay, yeah, Chiefs are 2.5 3-point favorites. Yeah, I mean, I guess Harry Butker, probably more.
Quite the offseason for Harry Butker.
I'm a fan. I don't care.
I am.
I mean, you just told us you're a fan of criminals on your team too. So
I don't care who they are.
That's like the two ends.
Dude can kick. Like, what do we care? I don't care what he's talking about. Like, what his faith is. What does that got to do with me? I'm talking about, can the guy kick a field goal?
All you're saying is when it comes to winning money, you've got tunnel vision, right? That's
care.
all you're saying.
Dude, I learned I'm a Jets fan. Yeah, I was like, Gronk's my favorite draft, fantasy player. Like, I don't care. You go up against my team, I don't care.
I thought you were going to say another tight end.
I'll play Aaron Hernandez. If he came back to life, I'll put him in the lineup too. I don't give a
Okay, just to get us back on track. Was it week 1 last week when Andy Reid decided to play Derek Gore and he had busted a huge run, or was that's toward the beginning of the season, I think?
It did happen, and then that guy disappeared for the rest of the entire. We never saw him again. It wasn't just one. He got like 10 carries in a game.
They started a game and threw a pass to the fullback one game. Like, right? Am I losing my mind? I feel like I remember that.
Can we go all in on Carson Steele here? Bobbywow.
No, you cannot go all in.
No.
Can't go all in. No.
You can though triple his exposure at maybe like 15% if you want to go nuts.
What I was thinking.
I am going nuts on him.
Because here's the thing. I think you can take potentially in the right game scenario, you can take a 0 on a 200 guy and still do well.
This would be the game scenario, right, Josh, where you've got pricey, expensive guys that could put up big points. Because we've seen games where Kelsey and Mahomes ball out, both score 40 plus. They both scored more than 40 fantasy points, yet only one was in the nuts.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
I can't remember what week that was, but that was last season.
That was
so now we have a $200 guy. We didn't have a $200 guy back then.
Right. And you only need like 3, 4, 5 points out of a guy like this to absolutely smash value. And we've seen that. We did, again, in the back testing. One thing, when it's less turdly than you think, it's less frequent that like some rando does pop up. But games like this where everybody's kind of expensive. But in this one, they're not that expensive. Like I said, they underpriced Rice and Andrews and Worthy to the point where, and even Flowers to the point where you're kind of good to go. You don't necessarily need like they didn't make them that. If everybody was priced up a little more, we'd be more concerned. But like I'm more concerned about like not playing. Like if I click optimize right now, it's gonna give me Mark Andrews in 98% of the lineups that we create just because it's absurd. And like these wide receivers, they're just gonna be everywhere. So we'll have to like control for too much of them, not too little. All right, turd zone, last chance, favorite turd. I said Steele. You guys in agreement? Up north.
Yeah, I like Noah Gray too. I like Noah Gray.
Noah Gray and Bobbywow, turd of the day.
Steele's my guy. I like Steele, and I like Josh's call on Likely too. I think that's
Likely's cheap too.
Okay, I love it. All right, let's shift focus to the Golden Duel, aka FanDuel, where ties go to assemble.
Maybe not anymore. I mean,
all they did was change. All right, so when we talk about FanDuel, they did make an adjustment. It's not a great adjustment, but they adjusted it. So now players are getting a 3-point bonus for 100 yards. What will that do? It will increase the chances of a non-quarterback being the nut captain on occasion.
But quarterbacks are still getting a 300-yard bonus, are they not?
They are getting one as well.
Yeah. So
but I mean, in the past, the quarterback nuts ratio was like 35, 40%. And then it was like 40% running back.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of scraps for anybody who's a pass catcher. I think it probably will be a little bit better for the pass catchers now. Don't you think so, Bobbywow?
Yeah, I do, but I still like this doesn't move the needle that much for me. I'm still quarterback and running back heavy, especially in a game like this where you've got studs
or supreme touchdown scoring tight ends like Kelsey and Andrews.
Sure.
Yeah.
You get there.
Yeah, I agree. So I think without necessarily looking too deep, Mahomes, Lamar, Henry, Pacheco, Andrews, Kelsey, and then a silly for the Millie captain. For me, it might be Xavier Worthy. Just taking the top off twice in the same game.
Big day.
More so on DraftKings for me. Man, that's tough to get there on FanDuel.
Well, I mean, two giant. Think about 260 plus yard like touchdown receptions mixed in with some other stuff. Got a 3-point bonus, 2 touchdowns in there. It could happen, is all I'm saying. It's not super likely, but there is a version. I remember a game a few years ago where it was before Tyreek Hill had really become Tyreek Hill, and it was opening weekend, and it was the Chiefs at the Patriots, and Reek comes out and takes the top off twice in that game, just goes off for like 38 fantasy points. Week 1.
You need like a long tutty and a jet sweep or something.
Yes, you need one of those crazy Andy Reid goal line plays.
As long as Mahomes doesn't throw it forward, like the shovel pass forward.
I need a Debbie Downer button too. I was just trying to get Josh. You and I need a Debbie Downer button because that is a horrible take. Xavier Worthy in the FanDuel MVP, but not mentioned on DK.
Now watch it happen, and like I'm not showing up for the pod next week if it happens because the gloating will be.
I'll be here in the turd hat.
Yeah. No, it was. Listen, it's FanDuel.
I know. I'm just messing around.
You know who you want to play.
I mean, crazy things can happen, but yes.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about strategically how we would build our lineups around these guys. And again, I would go right back to if Derrick Henry is my captain or my MVP on FanDuel, I don't really see a ton of pathways for Lamar to also get there. That's about it though.
Yeah. I think it's just incredibly hard to pair them together in a lineup on FanDuel just in general. Like
because of the pricing. Yeah. On FanDuel, you can't really mix like you've got a 17K that is so expensive. And what about an approach on FanDuel for uniqueness of no quarterback in your lineup? Could that even win?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Could get it done.
I think you've got 5, maybe 6 MVP options, and the play on Thursday is to get a little sillier in your flex on FanDuel. I think you stick with a tight group, your QBs, running backs. If you want to throw Kelsey and Andrews in there, fine, but you stick with that group, and then you get a little sillier, spread out your flex.
Note that on FanDuel they have Andrews priced appropriately.
They do, but like, all right,
still pretty cheap.
I just built over there. Henry captain, Kelsey, Pacheco, Chiefs D, and Mark Andrews.
There you go.
I mean that, right? What if they knock Lamar out of the game?
Oh, jeez.
Wait, how do you find?
Start predicting injuries.
Why can't I find the showdowns? Forgot how to use. There it is. They changed this. What is going on?
Yeah, I think the UI is different, or the
something. Oh, single game. Oh my. Oh, they changed the UI. Like
we're so back, man. Kevin's struggling with FanDuel.
I couldn't get onto FanDuel up until like 20 minutes ago because it kept thinking I wasn't human. And now they changed the UI. I can't even figure out where to click. It's actually better this way, but I just hadn't seen it before. Funny. All right, so we have added a Juju. All right, let's just make a lineup on FanDuel. We'll make a lineup on DraftKings. People love to see a lineup. So let's say you're choosing one of the quarterbacks as your captain. The most obvious is going to be Lamar. And again, with Lamar in there, we don't want to go Henry. So I think it's a choice of Henry or Lamar, probably not both.
I would agree.
Agreed.
Yeah. And then from here, let's see, 10,000. So we'll need some salary savings to make anything work. We've got, our kickers, Harry Butker. You got Justin Tucker, Xavier Worthy. I keep mentioning his name, 8,500. Not bad.
Watson, 7,000.
Ugh. So basically, DFS up north, just explain to me here. You've gone through this. Is there anybody even worth it looking at below 8,500 or let's say the 8K Isaiah Likely turd price?
I mean, your boy Steele. Likely's 8. Noah Gray's 55. I think Tylan Wallace is going to play a little bit at.
You got to take, running back Justice Hill. I think you got to consider as
Justice Hill 7,500.
A low exposure.
Rashad Bateman 75.
If playing Justice Hill is wrong, right? I don't want to be right. What if hating Hill is wrong? I don't want to be right.
Oh, why did they make Samaje Perine 8,000 on FanDuel?
Yeah, these prices are ridiculous, dude. I don't think you want to play any of these guys. They're all crap.
I mean, you're probably gonna have to play some of them.
I think my cutoff is Justice Hill. Maybe Isaiah Likely. I'm not going below 7,500 though.
Where's Steele? Hold on, let me see.
Steele's 5K.
All right, so I would allow a Carson Steele 5K, one like a lineup or two, just to stud up and have this one turd. But so I'm not going to do that on this one. But okay. But I think what we want to be doing here is just playing kickers, like Worthy, a kicker, and then then you could get your Mark Andrews in there, and a Kelsey. This is how.
That's a good lineup. That's a good lineup.
Yeah, this is kind of how it's going to look. Double tight end. Or you can get Pacheco. If I'm not playing Mahomes, I probably want Pacheco, so I would get him in there.
Yeah, that's like a cash line.
Yeah, $2K to spend here, so I can actually upgrade one of these other spots. So this feels more to me like what I would want to do on FanDuel, much more than have to pump with thirds.
Yeah.
Historically, wide receiver. So Binkin. Historically on DraftKings, pass catchers do get there the most often. The way the DraftKings scoring is set up, it's very fast for a wide receiver to pile up massive points if he is being used. So yes, it is the position group that we've discovered and I've discovered is way overused are pocket passers as captains because their mean projection, meaning their average score, is very high relative to other players, but their ceiling and floor are tighter, right? So when you're using an optimizer, even the domination station from DFS Army, but especially other ones that aren't as customizable, it just tosses tons of QBs at the captain spot. Like I was actually studying enemy optimizers this offseason to see what they do. And the big difference between what we have going on and what a lot of other sites do, they don't really the user is very much secondary on a lot of these optimizers. Like you're not really controlling much of anything other than clicking the button and, hoping for, you're not controlling individual player exposures. Broad-based things, yes, but we're really, we like to straight control the captain spot here. We design which captains we want and we tell the optimizer at what percentage we want them, where so it's not just purely projection driven, or we try to get away from that. On other sites, they don't do that, and it will just default to quarterbacks because they're the highest mean projection player. But they don't win that. They don't turn out as captains as often as they show up there. So they're put in the captain spot about 30% of the time, and it only wins about 15% of the time. It's very fadeable. Unless it's Lamar Jackson or a running quarterback, which negates everything I just said. Negates everything that I just said. So there we go. So yeah, something like this, guys, and then you could just upgrade one of these spots.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, works for me. Let's do a quick build on DraftKings, and then of course, guys, reminder: hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We've got another showdown on Friday. We've got tournament tactics coming out Fridays at 5 every single week. We go live with the foursome. We've already broken down, got our first look videos out there. So The channel here is exploding with content here for NFL Week 1. And of course, if you want to sign up at DFS Army, promo code NFL15 is a 15% off any plan that we offer code. Anything that we have, you get it 15% off. Our VIP is what you should be doing because it covers every sport. The optimizer, you get in our Discord. You're with Bobbywow. You're with DFS Up North. Myself. You can ask Burns a question. Whatever you want to do in our Discord. Yeah, everybody wants to ask Burns a question. That's like literally the first thing they do when they get in the chat. So there we go. All right, let's build a quick DraftKings lineup. And I kind of like the guys I like to build around. I like these cheaper names, although I don't mind Derrick Henry either because it allows me to not play Lamar.
Sure. But so I do like let's build one of those cheap.
Let's build expensive. Let's build a cheap one and an expensive one. I think expensive. Let's start with Kelsey. Cheap one.
Okay, so
we'll start with your.
We'll go
guy.
Expensive captain. You start with Travis Kelsey. Fine. Right now, Kelsey goes nicely with Mahomes. Are we going? I think like Andrews is like almost a lock button just in general on the slate at this price.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, Rice, I love this price point for him as well. It's ridiculous. Pacheco is good. Henry's good. So let's see what we can afford. So if I'm looking at the numbers right off the bat, 7,300 remaining with Andrews and Kelsey, we know we're going to have to choose one player, you know, in the sort of cheap zone. So who is our cheapie in this one? It could be a kicker, or we can go all the way down to Carson Steele and get crazy.
Well, are you going to go a quarterback?
I think I mean, perfect world, what I would try to do is get Carson Steele in there and see what a lineup looks like with a $200 player in it.
Okay.
So once you do that, let's see if we really need to worry about salary here.
Like,
so
what if you go with Pacheco and Henry? Just out of curiosity, I'm just curious about the no quarterback look. You can't. I mean, yeah, you take Steele out.
We would have to take Steele out, and a no QB. We'd still need to go and get like a kicker or a defense.
Yeah.
Throw Harry B in there.
Sure.
Or even Tucker. Actually, Tucker's the better kicker. So you throw Tucker in there. Didn't get it done. No. Harry B.
But you can get Xavier Worthy.
Where's Worthy?
Down.
Oh my goodness. Hell yeah. So I love Xavier Worthy too. So yeah, there you go. And then we could actually upgrade one of these other spots. So at this point, you could probably get to
Can't get to a quarterback, can you?
No. You'd leave 1,000 on the table here with a lineup like this. I don't hate it.
No, I don't mind that.
I don't mind it. What do you think, Bobbywow?
Yeah, I mean, same game again.
No
QB. Not to beat that horse. No QB last time around.
Could get it done. This could work. So if we start a little bit cheaper up top with a wide receiver, let's go with
What's Xavier Worthy?
What's your guy Worthy? Yeah.
Yeah, if you go with Worthy, all right. So this is the silly for the Millie fun time setup here. I can't even. My brain will not allow me to see Worthy. Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's so buried. It's so weird. He's buried.
You remember the caption?
8,700 Worthy. All right, for him, I do want Mahomes in there.
Yes. Yep.
Again, we could go with Lamar instead of Derrick Henry. I got a feeling about D. Rockefeller here, man. I really do. But yeah, this lineup is already coming together really easy. You put in Andrews, you put in you could get Rice in there, 8,450. Now we can just double tap whoever we want. I could double tap Flowers and Pacheco and be done. We can probably get Flowers and almost. That would have been cool.
They do that on purpose.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's either Henry or Lamar. I would like to have at least one of those guys in every lineup. Go with Henry. And then, nothing's really fitting here, but I think the correct move here would be to go down to a kicker.
What if instead of Rice, you go with Kelsey, and then you go down to it, and then you go further down?
Yeah, wait a second. All right, let me try that. Kelsey, and then and we could finish it up with like a Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Mahomes, Worthy, Kelsey, double stack. Henry, Andrews, Tucker.
3-3. I like that lineup.
That's not bad.
Solid.
Yeah, a tournament lineup, guys, just for fun.
Yeah.
Just for fun. Don't get crazy.
Yes, sir.
With it. All right, so yeah, that'll wrap it up. Showdown breakdown, first one of the season, guys. Knocking the rust off. It's good to do it live with the studio audience here in place. So that was pretty fun. I wasn't expecting to do that initially, but yeah, we knocked the rust off, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Remember, we want you in DFS Army. We want you guys winning. We want you to learn how to use these tools. We got the back test streams in there. If you're in DFS Army, make sure you're spending this time prepping. We got the season right around the corner. Do a little bit of back testing, whatever you can. It's in the basic training channel. It's in the basic training page on the DFSarmy.com website. Lots of cool stuff coming along. I want to thank you, DFS Up North, and you, Bobbywow, for this first one. We got another one on Friday, so we'll be back later in the week for that. And don't forget, yeah, come right back to it. And don't forget to tune in on Friday at 5 for Tournament Tactics, where we look at the Sunday main slate with the 4-man crew. Everybody's favorite show. Burns is there. Josiah is there. Everybody's there. So one day maybe DFS North will guest on there when you give up your
my full-time job.
Your full-time job. Yeah, it's enough with that.
Maybe we'll see.
All right. Take care, everybody. Good luck this week.